Hello and welcome to this live code hangout. I'm Briley and we'll work today on the open source Western Front website. You can access the source code at GitHub. We've got the website locally and I'm just auditing how we are managing the dependencies and noticing we have an issue here to add UV for project dependency management. I'd like to warm up today a little bit with this practical step. For background, there's several dependency management tools available in the Python ecosystem, and including pipenv, poetry, just plain pip, and each of those has some kind of shortcomings and design orientation. We've previously used poetry in this project, but its design orientation is for Python packages, so package maintainers, and not Python applications, which was made clear in some of the discussions in their issues. And so I reverted our project to using pip with some pip tools and trying to make it easy for contributors to get onboarded with the project without having to bootstrap dependency manager, which needed Python. And so that's another problem that Poetry has, is the bootstrapping issue where you have to have a Python environment to install Poetry to manage your Python dependencies. UV has been an up-and-coming package manager, and I don't want to jump around and just adopt things because it's the latest fad. So I've been having a slow guarded stance towards UV, but it's gotten very mature and gained a lot of traction. And so in this project, I think it's about the right time. UV offers a lot of, I think, benefits in the opportunity to unify the tooling in the Python package ecosystem, which is sort of already a done deal in other languages like Go and Rust, and this package managing and package lock and all this, and even linting and formatting is just kind of done at the language level, and you don't have to find a tool to solve these needs. So hopefully JavaScript, Python is tending in the direction. JavaScript has also some challenges similar here, where there's PNPM and NPM, and kind of bun runtimes, different even JavaScript runtimes, node bun, Dano. Yeah, so it's a bit of a challenge, I think, in these language ecosystems. Let's go ahead and switch to UV. So just for context, of the UV project, and I'll need this to guide the process today. UV is developed by a company called Astral, and they're venture backed, so it means they're receiving funding from venture capital agencies, and they'll need to find a way to monetize and return that investment. So there is pressure for Astral to have a business model. I think it's going to be coming in the form of like Astral Cloud. So hopefully that won't be a conflict of interest for UV project. I would like to see this sort of UV becoming part of the core Python packaging ecosystem. So to install it is pretty straightforward, single line command, and I'll double check here in the terminal here. UV is installed. So my goal with this whole project, and in general in projects I work on, especially open source ones, is that for the developer who's new to the project, or even an existing developer, you should be able to get your environment up and running effortlessly. Like, the environment should not be a blocker to your ability to develop, but I've had the experience where that's actually been a very big factor in inability to be productive and contribute to projects. Okay, so let's just see how we can do this. First thing we'll need to do is just create a branch. That way we have a fallback. And this isn't permanent. I can fail here without kind of being too worried. And let me double check here in the other window. I need to restart VS Code. I'm using VS Code Insider's Edition. So it basically has daily updates, like a nightly release cycle. Checking Discord notifications. Yep. So another aspect that we have for this project is that it's got a dev containers configuration, which means this is the whole goal. You open the project and your development environment will be automatically set up for you. You just click a button, basically. It's challenging to get that kind of level of a developer experience, but I'm kind of committed to maintaining it. But for right now, I'm going to ignore this notification. We're going to work just in the regular Python project environment without any Docker environment. So now what we're going to do is need to convert these requirements texts, which are auto-generated by pip tools, to a UV kind of package lock. Luckily in this project, or basically intentionally, I've been specifying the dependencies in PyProject TOML, which is sort of the de facto, or now that, yeah, the de jure, the standard way of specifying dependencies here. And I need to double check Poetry, you know, in fairness, he also uses PyProject TOML to specify the dependencies. So I just need to double check some of these because I haven't been using them in a while. So this might even be outdated here. Just kind of seeing what we have. So we have some tools that have been installed: MyPy, helpers, Django stubs, because Django doesn't have really strong type annotations. This might be unnecessary. We have a coverage plugin. Okay, cool. So I guess the idea is just going to be to maybe run UV init. Let's see. I'm really guessing here. Project already is initialized. PyProject TOML already exists. So maybe that's all UV needs. UV sync. Let's see what happens here. Creating CPython 3.12. Notice new environment has been created. So this is a good thing. The IDE will notice, hey, we got a Python environment. Following conventions, venv. UV is just very standards oriented. There's all of our project dependencies. So I run one command, UV sync. It creates my virtual environment and a lock file. Nice. So we're good to go. That was straightforward, but I want to make sure before I delete this, well, I can delete these lock files, but there are some dev dependencies. I can go back to our PyProject TOML and see if these got installed. I just want to make sure I'm defining these in a conventional way. So clearly UV found our dependencies, no problem. Botto3, these CyclePG, and I have these keep sorted annotations. I think this is now unnecessary because UV will keep these sorted for us. That's kind of cool. But the dev dependencies, let's see what happens here. So for example, in the UV lock, do we have coverage? We do. Huh. And does it distinguish the environment? Okay, so we'll have to look back at this, and I'll check the UV docs real quick on how UV add works. I think this is going to be... UV is just a very comprehensive package manager. It does more than package management. It integrates with Rough, which is a very fast linter. And we're running pre-commit, so we will need that. And we also have, I will need to add UV to our dev container setup. We'll do that shortly. First, I just want to make sure that I'm installing, and it'll actually install Python versions as well. It's a Python version manager. It's crazy. It just does so many things all in one package. It's really nice to have that. So let's see. First, we'll focus on one thing. How to add development project dependencies and optional dependencies, so that was good to go. Oh yes, we have English class today. Excellent. I'm excited. And so I think we're good to go. The problem is these aren't optional dependencies, they're dev dependencies. That's the clarification I need to make. So we can define other package indexes. We can define an environment file that automatically will activate your environment variables. UVX, you can put commands, it's like npx. You can execute script within your environment. This is just such a great developer experience. Very excited for UV to come around. One of the problems that UV needed to resolve before a lot of projects, including ours, could adopt that is having the ability for developers to work on different operating systems and share a code base. The lock file format up until a certain point, and UV was platform specific or operating system specific, but they did resolve that. So now you can run UV commands and build a project on Windows or Mac or Linux, and it's all the same. So this is cool. I think it's just add --dev. Let's just try this. Whoops. And let's see, did our package lock change? By project toml, just I cleaned that out. So here we are, dependency groups dev. Okay, so I just need to migrate these optional dependencies, browser reload, Django stubs, factory boy, mypy, pip tools, over there. Go one at a time. And you have to, I think, quote this. Oh, there we go. MyPy extensions, yep, good to go. Now we can actually remove pip tools. We want factory boy, we want MyPy. This is an interesting one. The pre-commit I've installed in our project, but I think that should be, it's a bit tricky. Well, we can now use UVX to execute pre-commit. I think that should be installed globally though. I'll have to look at that one. And actually, as I do these, I need to remove them. So we did coverage, browser reload, factory boy, mypy. Beautiful soup 4. Types factory boy. Types request. This is just so we can have type annotations in our project. which just really helps. It's very useful. I'm glad that Python ecosystem is moving towards this kind of static typing, so we can have more confidence, and it just takes a lot of the load off my brain to not have to worry about what is flowing through the project, where it's coming from. It's kind of self-documented, and I get support from my IDE. So validate PyProject. I think I might just remove that. I think UV is going to, in a way, do that for us. And so we no longer need pip tools. I think we no longer need pre-commit here. No longer need that. And I added that. So I think, oh, here we go. We can just remove this. The optional dependencies are for, okay. Interesting. So we'll accept that change. All right. Yeah, that's one problem. So I need to actually just add these here. We'll override it now. We're good to go. So now if we do UV sync, another nice thing is that it will remove dependencies that are no longer in use. UV sync right there. And it's very fast. It uses caching, and it's built in Rust, which mainly the speed up is just from having a cache. So now we have a PyProject where I've cleaned up our optional dependencies, since we're actually not like a library where there are some kind of dependencies you may or may not want to include. The project is kind of monolith. It's just the way it is. And so there's no real optional dependency. We were technically dev dependencies. And now we have them down here in our dev dependencies. So this is cool. We basically have migrated to UV to the best of my knowledge. And let me enable my Copilot again. And I need to prepare for the English class. So I need to prepare like the day's lesson and get over there. So I think if this works, if I can run the project, for example, we're just going to call this good. I got about 15 more minutes before I need to shift my focus. So in our branch, refactor code structure from so that's not a very good commit message. So we'll add UV for project dependency management. So now, how do we run the server? So this is an interesting thing. So let me just double check. So now, if I open a terminal, it might be that VS Code will activate the shell. No. And we have my pyenv Python. So I just need to get this down. How do we activate a UV shell? Our contributing guide. So let's double check. It's not in the README. I believe it's in docs. Contributing. So yeah, if I give it this prompt in our contributing guide and put it in agent mode, it can actually make these changes for us. I'm going to use Claude 3.7 because it's got a more recent training cutoff date. So I believe it'll have probably more knowledge about the UV docs. Yeah, and this is interesting. We have a dependency on Docker, but I was using Colima for a while. We'll revisit this now that we've got a dev container set up. May have made that choice simpler for users, for developers. If it just launches a dev container, you don't even have to worry about that. But you need to launch Docker, so I think that's the main reason. I was looking at Colima. All right, based on the information in the project files, and I should have put the PyProject toml there, but I can see that the project says migrated to UV. So it did look for UV lock and PyProject toml just automatically because it's in agent mode. So it has a tool to search files. The conversions to change. Now I'll update the contributing guide with appropriate UV related instructions. Let me update the relevant sections of contributing MD to reflect the UV workflow. So we'll need an environment file. Django debug is true. Interesting. It's changing the order. Run database migrations. Python management by migrate. Create a super user. So that's the thing. UV now is our dependency. Create a virtual environment. So we no longer need to do that. UV venv. But we're not using. Right, it did get a bit confused, but I should have removed those. Move to trash. And we no longer need this. Just slight clarification, but we'll commit that. And I should take a look inside of development py. I had a few like helper functions in there. Mainly to compile the dependencies, so that's what UV is now doing for us. Starting the database, that was an interesting helper. Docker compose up. So actually, let me revert this and we'll migrate those commands. So let's just double check so UVVN, UV sync. So UVVN, UV sync. Boom. Let's just try. Now the database is not running, so that won't work. Right. This is good. So yeah, a few changes here. UVVN, UV sync. Create environment file. Run database migrations. Create super user, okay. UV sync. All extras. I think the UV sync after adding is not necessary. It just automatically installs that. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is just edit this little developer helper I had here. So removing the commands that we don't need to migrate. And I have a develop Py and a Py project toml. I think we can define those. I don't know if we can actually do this, but let's see. So this doesn't look correct, but this looks good. Unfortunately. It's not really going to work. Okay. We'll have to figure that one out later, but you can clearly run scripts, but I just don't know how to define them exactly. Nonetheless, we cleaned up the dev commands. I think this is a good stopping point. We have documentation. So one file formatted, settings py, anyway. Lint. The only other aspect then is our dev container setup, which I'll address. Probably in another session. Yep, I need to run. Okay, this has been another live code hangout. My name is Briley. I appreciate you stopping by, checking out what we're working on. This code is open source, so feel free to check it out and make any modifications, pull requests, or borrow the code for your own projects. And I hope you succeed in your endeavors. Okay, have a great day.